Hi everybody, it's Kayla from Literary Gladiators, and today I'm going to be doing Josh's cookie book tag. So let's just jump right into it. His first cookie in question is the chocolate chip cookie, for which I am supposed to name a great American classic. So for that I chose one of my favorite books from high school, which was The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I just really love the era and the characters and the story. So I think that's a pretty solid Great American Classic. The next cookie is a sugar cookie, and that's a book that gives you a warm, fuzzy feeling. So for that, I chose one of my favorites from my childhood, which is Roald Dahl's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I do have a copy of that, but unfortunately, when I was young, I hated book jackets and tore them off of all of them. The name is on the side there. It's gonna be kind of hard to see. But I just always loved this book as a kid. It makes me think of my mom because it's her favorite movie. And who doesn't love a factory full of candy? So that's one of my favorites. That gives me a warm, fuzzy feeling inside. The next one is the oatmeal cookie, and that's a work that reminds you of home. So I chose kind of a weird one for this. I actually chose The Giver by Lois Lowry, which I fell in love with when I read it in 7th grade. And after I was done, I forced my mom to read it, which is why it makes me think of home. It was the first book I made her read. And it is also the book that introduced me to dystopian fiction and made me fall in love with that. So it's always been really important to me. I've probably read it like 6 times. The next one is Gingerbread Cookies, and that is to name a favorite folk or fairy tale. For that, I chose Aesop's Fables. I'm not really a huge fairy tale person, but when I was a kid, I had this really cool edition of Aesop's Fables. It was probably like my mom's from when she was a kid. It was so old. But I just always loved it because it was a really cool cover and just full of animals and super simple short stories that I really loved. So that was always my favorite. And then the next cookie is the Oreo, and for that one, I'm supposed to name a supporting character that steals the show. For that, I chose, the character's name is 355. She's from Why the Last Man by Brian K. Vaughan. This is an outstanding series, and all of the characters in it are superbly developed and just really, really incredible. It is a graphic novel, but I highly recommend it for anybody who loves really strong female characters because it's outstanding. The next cookie is the Biscuit, and for that one I am supposed to name a great British classic. So this one I actually haven't read, but I've heard amazing things about it, and that's Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I'm super excited to read it. It's on my to-be-read list, and clearly it's sitting on my bookshelf, so I'm definitely going to get around to that one soon. I've heard great things about it. It's a classic romance, which is awesome. So the next cookie is the Thin Mint, and I have to name a work that's made a difference. I actually chose 2 for this one. I chose one that I think has changed the world and made a difference to the reading community as a whole, and one that has made a difference to me personally. So for the one that's made a difference to the world, I chose Harry Potter and the Harry Potter series because I just think that it introduced a brand new generation to reading and really got people, my age, a little bit older and younger than me, into reading. And, it's got so many symbols and important conversations in it. Harry goes through PTSD, and Lupin is an allegory for AIDS, and it deals with just so many things that I think is important to young people, and it really got a whole new generation reading, which I think is so important. And then for the work that made a difference to me, I chose Saga by Brian K. Vaughan again. This series is equally as amazing. It's another graphic novel, and it made a difference to me because before reading it, I didn't really think I wanted to have kids. But after reading it, I think I do now, because it just gives you this really realistic view on adulthood and parenthood and how it affects the relationship between 2 people, and your relationship with your in-laws and your relationship with your parents and your relationship with your child, and it just really, really means a lot to me, and it's the reason I want to be a parent one day. So moving on, the next cookie is Shortbread, and that is to name a writer that is addicting. So for that, because I already named 2 of his outstanding series, I chose Brian K. Vaughan. Again, both just amazingly written series, amazingly illustrated, although they do have different illustrators. Fantastic characters, ridiculously amazing plot lines, and because I know you guys are probably sick of me talking about Brian K. Vaughan by now, I also chose Ellen Hopkins, who I have been reading since I was in high school. Her work is written in verse, so it's really easy to read. This book is like 600 pages, but you can get through it in like a day. Her writing is full of suspense, and it's super easy for kids to relate to, and I love that she is a young adult writer who isn't afraid to discuss the really tough stuff. All of her books have to do with drugs and suicide and sex, and I just think it's so important that there's a YA writer out there who's willing to go there. So the next cookie is the black and white cookie, and that is to name a work you're not sure you like. For this, I chose Unwind by Neil Shusterman. So I read this first book of the series, probably about 6 months ago, and I thought it was okay. The plotline is alright, the characters are okay, the writing is mediocre, and I was kind of left not caring what happened next. I don't really care what happens in the second book or to the characters or in the plot, so I just didn't really care about it that much, so I'm probably not going to read the rest of the series. The last cookie is a dog treat, and that's to name your favorite literary animal. I had a really hard time with this one because as much as I love animals, and anybody who knows me knows I adore animals, I work in the animal field, I don't know that I've read a book that focuses on an animal for any length of time. So for this one, I chose The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. I love Ashlyn, and, he's a giant lion, and I love lions, so that was the only one I could really think of, I guess, that had an animal as a important character in the series. Well, Saga does too, but I'm sure you guys don't want to hear more about how much I love that series. So then the bonus question is to name your favorite cookie and why. And my favorite cookie is probably a chocolate chip cookie, but not the hard, like, Chips Ahoy kind. I like soft, delicious homemade cookies, or chewy chocolate chip cookies. They're delicious. And obviously, I love them because they're delicious. So that's it for my cookie book tag. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Feel free to make one yourself. Josh would love that. And make sure you tag Literary Gladiators in it if you do. Have a good day, everybody. Bye.